Thank you, Faye. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Always a pleasure to watch the world number one Judd Trump. He battled through a very tough first group with some real experienced players there. Rod Lawler, Anthony Hamilton and Lee Walker. But Trump beat each of them. It's fair to say he didn't necessarily hit the absolute heights. He didn't have to. He got all 9 points, and here he is looking to put himself into finals day. Of course, he got to the grand final last year, just lost out to Karen Wilson. Jimmy Robertson kept his place on the tour. Unbelievably, he was in danger of falling off. That was in the World Qualifiers at the end of last season, and he's looking to get going again. He had a 140 break, one of 2 centuries he made in the previous group. So an interesting one to start here, and these are short matches, so Judd Trump knows he's got to be on it from the start. Jimmy Robertson to break. First thing to say to my co-commentator Mark Davis is happy birthday, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Afternoon to everybody. It should be a really interesting group, this one. Clearly Judd's favourite to get through, but you know, with Jimmy and Tom and Stuart in the group, you know, I wouldn't be at all surprised if one of those 3 came through, because they're all really, really dangerous, fantastic scorers, and obviously in the short format, you know, I'd say makes them very dangerous. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes today.
Yeah, I guess they all play the sort of game that suits Trump more than his first 3 opponents, but of course if they play it really well, he could be in trouble. So I think this first match is really interesting.
Yeah, I just think the first frame in the matches are so important. Obviously I played yesterday, and you know, I knew this anyway. They're really important to get a good start. It is in any match, but certainly in the short formats that these events are.
We have 2 tables, as you can see, and Ricky Walden and Peter Lyons are kicking off on table 2, and that's live on Matchroom Live. The other 2 players there, Mark Allen and Fergal O'Brien, so another really tough group. Ricky Walden was played actually on the first day, so he's had a long time to wait to get back into it again, but he's already into it in the first frame. Obviously, you know Jimmy really well, Mark. It was amazing that he was in the predicament he was. I suppose winning the ranking event, obviously those points came off, and as he wasn't putting them back on, he fell down the ranking list.
Yeah, you know, I play in the same club as Jimmy. I practice with him, you know, most days, and you know, I know what he can do. He's just one visit all day long. If you're not on the top of your game, you're just going to be picking out balls all day. Fantastic player. And I mean, you never really know what goes on in the player's mind. I know Jimmy quite well, but I think maybe just once he won the tournament European, maybe put a little bit too much pressure on himself to sort of kick on and do, you know, make it a regular thing, and maybe just put a little bit too much pressure on himself. And once you get a couple of losses, you lose a bit of confidence, and that's how the game is. And it starts to get really tough. And he went through a spell where he was just struggling to get you know, many wins. Yeah, I mean, obviously seeing him first hand what he can do, for him to nearly fall off the tour is ridiculous, really, for me, because as I say, I know how good he is. But you know, it can happen. It's a tough tour these days, and you lose a few games, a bit of confidence. You know, that's what can happen. But I was really impressed with him in the World Championships, the game he needed to win, and he was behind in the match, and you know, really showed a lot of guts there to get through in that match and keep his tour card.
Had a go at the long one there, but it stayed out. So Judd Trump then with his best chance so far to open up the scoring.
1.
He's won the Championship League 3 times as an invitation event, and of course he's won 22 ranking titles, 14 in the last 3 seasons.
Six.
Just working out a plan here. The black covered for now. Oh, and he's completely lost his way here. He's overscrewed it.
7. Green ball. Judd Trump 7.
terms of previous meetings. Judd Trump holding the edge by 6 wins to 1.
As you say, Dave, I mean the amount of events Judd's won the last few years, you know, with a standard of snooker, not just at the top end, but all the way down, it's as high than it's as high as it's ever been. Is remarkable, really. It just shows how good he is and how much he's improved. His all-round game now is as good as anybody.
Yeah, what I like about him is he doesn't seem to prioritise the tournaments. He wants to win everything. That was very much the attitude of the Davises and the Hendrys. Just go into every tournament determined to come away with the trophy.
Yeah, absolutely, he does. You know, whether it's a World Championships or a low ranking event, he tries his best to win every single event he plays in. And you think that's normal, but it's not always been the case. Some players, you know, they don't prioritise the smaller events, and they can, you know, maybe play a few shots they wouldn't normally play in the lesser ones. But Judd doesn't. He plays the same all the time, and like I say, he just wants to win everything that he plays in, regardless of, you know, what the ranking or prize money is.
Yeah, he tends to play in everything as well. He's not one of the top players who sort of ducks out. He missed 2 events last season, the Masters because of a positive COVID test, and the shootout because he just doesn't take to it, although he could probably do really well in it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the shot clock in the shootout that affects Judd. I mean, I think it's pretty much what he averages anyway, so I obviously just don't quite fancy the tournament, but, you know, that's fine. But it's certainly not the time limits, because he's a very fluent, quick player. I suppose when you're young, you know, you want to play in everything, Dave. When you're young, he's still a young lad, he's Judd, and you know, make the most. When he gets older, he might a few years later, he might, you know, skip the odd tournament here and there, and you know, like I say, when you get older, as you say, I skipped the sort of birthday celebrations there at the beginning. It's when you get to 49, you don't really want to talk about it too much.
I won't mention it again, don't worry.
Wow.
Now then, not only the in-off,
The
but he's
trump
got this
ball.
red over the pocket.
Yeah, you really have to catch those safety shots very, very thin when you're going across the table there that Jimmy was doing, trying to flick them. You've really near enough got to sort of aim to miss the red, as mad as it sounds, because any thicker contact, and that's exactly what happens.
One.
That's obviously one of the many strengths Judd has got. That first red there is he's probably as good as anyone in the game at that type of shot. Just a direct screw back with the red over the pocket. He played it with ease. That's a very, very tough shot. But a lot of players couldn't even screw the ball back that far from that distance, and he's just done it and made it look easy.
Yeah, and he played a good shot off the blue as well to land on the red on the black spot, which frees that now, so may be able to get the black into play in a couple of shots' time. Just opens everything up. We know what a great scorer Judd Trump is. He made 90 centuries last season, and he's already third on the all-time list with 808.
30.
So, having gone wrong the first time he was in, let's see what he does here. Chance to build up a good lead in this frame.
40.
He's a phenomenal scorer now, Judd. I mean, I don't know
20.
what his strike rate from frames to centuries is in the last 2 or 3 seasons, but it's got to be up there with anyone, I would say. He just seems to have so many centuries, at 800 odd now, and I think where it'd end up on when he retires.
21.
But he's just sort of learnt the way you do when you turn into a top player. You come on, you're a little bit loose, go for a few shots, and then Judd's just improved every aspect of his game, his safety, his cue ball control, everything, and that's why he is where he is in the game.
Well, managed to avoid everything going around the table.
27.
Yeah, I mentioned the 90 centuries, but he also made over 250 plus breaks as well. They wouldn't all have been frame winners, but most of them would have been. So that's 300 breaks. Not far off being frame winners last season.
28.
I've never seen anyone play the shot I played previously on the pink. You know, completely controlled, going around the table at, you know, at pace, and he plays those
33.
shots when he needs to, when he runs out of position, which is not very often. He plays them so well, so controlled when the white's doing so
34.
so many miles around the table to get on the next red, and you know the pink was a prime example there. He played it as well as he could have done.
Yeah, looking
40.
good to kill this first frame off. In this format, making a good start is so important. Otherwise, you're
41.
just chasing the day and you're relying on other people to do your favours.
Yeah, it is. I mean, also I played yesterday, and you just need to just play the game as you normally do, but you can't help thinking that you need a good start. And I lost the first game 3-1, so you know straight away the group is kind of out of my hands. So it's hard to sort of not get yourself up for it, because I'd always try. Everyone would try to win every game, but it does put you in a bit of a downer when you know after one match you're sort of relying on results going your way from then on. So yeah, as you say, it's massively important to even win the first frame, and because then you win the first frame, you'd like to think the worst case is you're going to get a draw.
Well, Trump still needs another red, as you can see. 64 in front, 67 on. Just
53.
lost his way here.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit careful here, because as he's playing safe off one of these reds, he's going to be potentially bringing the black into play. Even though he'd like to knock it safe, he might knock it towards the side and back onto the cushion. He was always going to bring it into the open a bit more. So yeah, it's going to be 64 in front, but the balls aren't that bad. If Jimmy could get in, he might have a chance to steal the frame. So the three reds just behind the black spot don't look great, but I'm assuming that he would pot the black off the first red, and then they'd be in a perfect position to just play a cannon. But he's finished in no man's land there. I thought he's played the shot to nothing perfectly actually, but he didn't want to play it that well because he was hoping to be on the black.
Yeah, so something's got to go here, otherwise he needs a snooker.
Jimmy Robertson 1.
So first blood to Judd Trump, 53 break.
1.
Did the damage. Very interesting group. Tom Ford and Stuart Carrington
8.
still to come, but Judd Trump is the man clearly who is favourite.
9.
And if he can win the first match, then come back later for his second. I'm sure full of confidence. He won't be on again till 5 o'clock. By then, he'll assess how the group's going. He's won plenty. He still wants to win plenty more, including this Championship League, and he's made a good start to this group. He's won the first frame. Remember, it's a 4-frame match. Judd Trump leads Jimmy Robertson 1-0.
Second frame.
So Judd Trump leads Jimmy Robertson 1-0 in the first match of the day here on table 1. This is Group A of the second stage of the Championship League, all about getting through to tomorrow. Of course, Corin Wilson and Bei Langning already in this group. The winner of this group will join them, as will the winner of Group B. On table 2, Ricky Walden leads Peter Lines there 1-0. The other players, Mark Allen and Fergal O'Brien.
With that kind of shot there, the last thing you want to do is miss it thick. Because as you see, the red come back up the table. If you want to miss that shot, you always got to aim a bit thinner. If you miss it thin, you should be able to get a good cue ball and leave it safe. But Jimmy's just missed that, you know, quite thick, and giving Judd another good chance here. Perfectly played for this red.
6.
Already be thinking is the best colour to open the reds up in 2 or 3 shots time. Judd doesn't normally leave it till the last open red. Normally gets into them as early as he can. And he may do it on this shot with finished a little bit low on the red. Problem is he'd have to probably screw off the pack, so he may leave it for this time. Yeah, he could only just graze them.
I mentioned the head-to-head between them, 6-1 Trump. The last time they played in the Players' Championship 2 years ago, not only did he win 6-0, he made 3 centuries, so I'm sure Jimmy Robertson well remembers that.
22.
He's got a little bit far as he'd like on the blue there, so he may actually play for the loose red now and try and get a better angle on the colour next time. I think his plan there was to get an angle on the blue to open up the reds, but as you say, we just went a little bit too far. So just has to, as this is the last open red, imperative he gets a good angle on the black or the blue.
26.
Fantastic shot. He just plays that shot so
33.
well. Little bit of arc on the cue ball. Finish perfect.
34.
Yeah, this is ominous, you've got to feel, for Jimmy. To make all those breaks that I mentioned that he made last season, obviously you need skill, but also intense concentration.
41.
To focus on every shot you play and not take anything for granted.
42.
No, you do. I mean, there's plenty of players, Dave, who when they get to 70 or 80, they just lose focus and then they miss a shot. But you know, just through lack of concentration,
49.
really, more than anything else. But Judd just wants to make hundreds every frame. And that can only be a good thing. It just keeps you focused all the time,
50.
and then that'll take you into the next frame. And he just loves clearing the table up every time he gets a chance.
Highest break in the first phase for Trump was 92, so he's looking for his first
55.
century of the season. You wouldn't bet against it coming here.
Yeah, and obviously in this event, you know, it can potentially come down to the highest break as well, which you have to be aware of. So, I mean, he tries to clear the table anyway, so it's not really going to make any difference to his mindset. But you know, potentially it could come to the highest break at some point. He'll be aware of that.
$61. $62.
In the blink of an eye, this is frame ball. Jimmy Robertson's had, what, one shot?
I mean, and, you know, the worst he's been in this break is just a small little bit out of position, mainly on the original blue that he played to go into the pack. Other than that, it's just pinpoint position all the time. He's just leaving himself, you know, easy pots really, because his cue ball is so good, and that's, you know, that's what you want. That's what you want to do. That's your plan.
75.
Sounds easy, but it's very difficult. It's so easy to
76.
just play one loose positional shot, and then that kind of snowballs, and then before you know it, you're leaving yourself a really tricky pot, which more often than not, some of the players end up missing. But he's just been, you know, pretty much perfect on every ball in this break.
Yeah, the phrase shelling peas springs to mind here. One thing he sometimes does once he's made
84.
the 100, he plays exhibition shots, but I guess in this format he might not do that because, as you say, high break could be very significant. So maybe just make sure of them all.
89. $90. $95. $96.
So this blue for Judd Trump's first century of the season, and one thing we can guarantee, it will not be his last. Well, that's what you call a quick kill in this frame. First chance he got, stepped in, he's made a century.
$103.
Yeah, as you say, Dave, normally Judd would be playing a few exhibition shots from here on in, but I'm not too sure he will be today, as you say, because of the highest break situation.
106.
It's a bit of a shame because, you know, some of the shots he produces at the end of frames are just scandalous, really. Some of them.
110.
Played that green against Barry, didn't he? Barry Hawkins last season, which is just a ridiculous shot.
Yeah, and it was a ridiculous shot, and I think I read a sort of comment from Judd after, because he was well behind in that match, and he said that shot, even though it didn't mean anything in the context of the frame, I think Judd had already won the frame. It just gave him such a lift and just a boost to produce a shot like that, that it sort of helped him make the comeback that he made, which is incredible. So,
well, terrific stuff from Judd Trump. Just one chance he needed, one chance he took, a total clearance of 128. Jimmy Robertson knows he's got problems now. Trump on top, leading 2-0. 128, a total clearance from Judd Trump in just 8 minutes. That frame has given him a 2-0 lead, so he's guaranteed a point. Jimmy Robertson now battling for a draw. He only had one shot, though, in that last frame. I mean, not a lot he could have done. Ricky Walden still 1-0 up on table 2 against Peter Lyons. Here we go again.
Well, that's just fantastic cueing. It really is, digging down like that.
1.
And controlled as well to finish short of the baulk line. There's really not much you can do. It wasn't a bad break from Jimmy. Just left a little bit of that red, but even so, incredible putt.
Well, a mistake.
The Trump 4.
One red caught the other, so Jimmy Robertson was sat down there maybe thinking, well, that could be end of match. It's not. He's got an unexpected chance. That red just flicks the other one.
1.
Remember, Robertson made a 140 and another century as well in the first group, which he played really well in. He had to beat Joe Perry in the last match to win that group, and he did so.
8. 9.
This is the first decent chance Jimmy's had really in this match. And if it come out the blue, I think when Judd potted that long red, Jimmy was fearing the worst. But you got, when you're sitting down, you got to mentally be prepared for opponents to make a mistake or miss a pot. So you're, mentally you're ready to come to the table. You can't expect them to clear up every time, even though back in your mind you do. You've got to be mentally ready to have an opportunity when if it comes up.
50. 60.
He looks a little bit straight on the black here to the next red. So the red just to the right of the pink. Certainly goes into the corner pocket. I'm not sure about the middle. Yeah, he's going to have to play a good positional shot here, I think. He can't go into the red, so you're going to have to play for a loose one. Yeah, that's excellent. Very good shot.
23. 24.
He doesn't hang around Jimmy. He gets on with it when he gets in the balls. Very fluent
31.
player. Very heavy scorer. Yeah,
32.
pretty good on the blue. Little bit further to absolutely perfect, but he has to make sure he gives himself an angle to go into the reds here. He's still okay. Yeah, he just didn't quite catch. He just caught the side of the pack there, as you can see, and just lost the cue ball a little bit. Still could, still could have finished better than that, to be honest. Still a bit unlucky, but he wanted to catch the middle of the pack. And with the red going over to the corner pocket, he's going to have to, as he's saying, line up a plant there. He's going to have to move the red. A bit long, big distance between the two reds here, so certainly with safety in mind. It wasn't
39.
really. I went all out for it. That was. I thought he'd get the cue ball up in the baulk end there, to be fair. Must be very confident in potting it. He potted both of them.
Well, when Trump made the 128 and then banged in that long red at the start of the next frame, finished plumb on a colour,
44.
Jimmy Robertson would have been forgiven for thinking that's 3-0. But if you can get 2-2 out of this now, then that I feel like he's won the match. First, he's got to kill this frame off, but what a lifeline.
45.
Yeah, really good visit this is. I say he's barely had a shot for 2 frames and seen Judd, you know, throws him out the previous frame. Really good response.
$52.
It's just a little bit further than he wanted. I mean, he's still okay. Obviously, it shouldn't be a problem, but just a smidgen further than he planned on this red. He didn't feel he could hold for the blacks. You're going for blue. That's what I mean. Every time you start having to, you know, change your course of action, because he was planning on just staying on the black all the way through that break. Now he's had to go up for the blue, come a little bit short on the blue. This is where things can get a bit tricky, especially when he's so close to winning the frame as well.
$58.
Oh, he's played that really well. That could be a frame winner, that shot. Landing perfectly on this red.
59.
He needs the black. Trump needs snookers. Oh, and he's missed the black. Wow. Just needed that.
Jimmy Robertson.
How important will
59.
that be?
I think that's just a little bit of a lapse in concentration. Thinking he'd done all the hard work, so easily done, because he never looked like missing a ball like that throughout the break. It must have been just a slight lapse. Maybe took his mind away from what he was supposed to be doing. It's, like I say, so easily done, but that could be very costly, especially when you're playing Judd.
So we were envisaging a possible draw. If it's 3-0, then I can't see Jimmy Robertson possibly winning the group.
$8.
I'm a little bit short here, Judd. Playing this red, he might knock the other red towards the cushion. I don't think it would go near the cushion. He didn't want it to go near the cushion, that's why he played it so softly.
Judd Trump, 8.
The lifeline for Jimmy.
Yeah, what a let-off that was. Every frame, remember, in this format counts. So Jimmy Robertson potting that red. Looks like he's won his first frame. That could have been stolen from underneath him. That would have wrecked the whole day, really, before it had begun. But now he has a chance still to get a point from this match. What a result that would be. This is a format that I think certainly keeps the players on their toes.
8. $9. $50. $60. $21.
I think one thing that happened for Jimmy Robertson after he won that tournament 3 years ago was that other
23.
players started to raise their game against him, and maybe he became a little guilty of sort of looking at the ranking list, waiting for those points to come off. But anyway, he did well
26.
to keep his place on tour in the World Championship. As Mark said, there's enough pressure there anyway because it's the World Championship without having to worry about tour
30.
survival. He's got that out of the way, so hopefully this season he can just press on.
35.
And we've got a big frame coming up next to decide whether the points are shared or whether Judd Trump can take 3 from the... He's had chances in this frame. Went wrong initially when
41.
tempted the red to the
Another
right
frame.
corner, caught another one then.
Jimmy Robertson.
After Jimmy Robertson missed the black, had another chance but missed the red to the same pocket. Robertson delighted when that happened. So there's 1 frame to go. Judd Trump's lead is cut to 2-1. What a very exciting opening match here. This final day of the second stage of the Championship League. Judd Trump led 2-0. Jimmy Robertson, despite a couple of wobbles,
Final
won frame 3. So 2-1 to Trump.
Judd Trump to break.
If he wins this frame, he takes 3 points. If Robertson wins it, they take a point apiece. Ricky Walden is 2-0 up next door against Peter Lyons in the other group. And just quickly to say, from 5 o'clock tonight, we will unveil our question. We're running a competition next 2 days to win tickets to the Champion of Champions final. So look for that later on.
I heard your question the other day, Dave, and that was one I did know the answer to. The highest break in the World Championships.
Was that against you, Mark?
It wasn't against me,
Oh, right.
but I did have the previous highest break.
Oh, that's why you knew.
That's why I knew. I was keeping an eye
Jimmy
on it.
Robertson
And
won.
not only should I really have beaten Sean in the first round, he ended up pipping my break by a point as well. So, not my favourite person.
Yeah, he also got, by the way, it was his birthday this week. He got a cake. I don't want to rub it in.
Yeah, it's pretty bare on this table, Dave, if I'm honest.
Yeah, he also, he's not a fool, Sean, because he bought everyone a load of donuts as well. Anyway, on to serious matters. Jimmy Robertson knocks in the long red and just didn't finish nice on a colour, so he's made the snooker. Big frame this in the context of the day. I'm sure the other 2 players, Tom Ford and Stuart Carrington, would be very happy to see a draw.
Yeah, absolutely. As ever, it's the first game. The other 2 players in the group would love to see a draw. Give them a boost before they even kind of go out to play. That's a pretty good snooker Jimmy's got there with reds either side of the pack. Just normally he'd try and just roll into the pack on the right hand side there, but with that red there, it's got a good chance of leaving that on. So this is quite a tricky situation for Judd here. The few open reds, so it's not easy to just, like I say, normally it'd be the side of the pack, but there's red there that he would probably leave. He's thinking of maybe landing on the far left side of the red. That one there. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good shot actually. There's a chance of a plant there if Jimmy fancies. He's quite good at plants, as I know from experience in the club. He doesn't miss many.
One. One.
He's going to be very unlucky if these reds are covering one another.
Yeah, he's played that. He's played that really well.
8.
He's very unlucky if this red doesn't go.
Just. Well,
9.
he deserved to be able to pop that. So what a chance now for Jimmy Robertson in this 4th frame.
Yeah, absolutely great chance now. Good plant, fantastic shot on the plate, opening all the beds up and
60.
himself a good. He looks really focused today, Jimmy. He's really in the zone. I know he's just joined Elite Sports Management team with Bobby Lee and Curtis Braithwaite, who have been around the tour for a long time, know all the boys, and he's just joined them. Well, I think Mark Selby's there, Stuart Bingham, Mark Allen, a few of the young lads, and I think they're, even though it's early, I think they're sort of having their effect on Jimmy and really getting his mind right for the matches, because he's looked really mentally really calm and focused, which is exactly what
70.
you want to be. It's always good to have a good team around you. They take care of everything else and you just focus on snooker. As ever, with the way the Reds are, he's got a great chance here, but he's really got to keep his focus, because if he did make a mistake there, they're all there for Judd.
25.
Well, it would certainly shake things up early on. The way Trump set about that 1-2-8 in frame 2, you think he's going to just romp through not only the match but the whole group. But that was just one frame. He had the chance in frame 3. In fact, he had 2 chances in the end. Didn't take them. So
33.
Let's see if Robertson can get this draw.
He's come slightly the wrong angle on the black. So he had to play this in the middle, which ideally he'd want to leave there maybe a bit longer for reserve in case he run out of position. But he's got to take it now. It still should be fine. It's always nice to have a run in that
41.
position, just in case you do lose position later on in the break.
$47. $48.
Nicely played that shot. He's got a slight angle on the black here. I think to the bottom of the pack of 5 does go to the corner pocket. As you see there, so play on that. And he's just lost the cue ball a little bit there. He wanted to be a bit further up the table. He's going to be canning into the other
55.
reds now. But you'd have to think if this goes well and he gets on a colour, he should win in the frame.
$56.
It's not bad. Not absolutely perfect.
No, I think the same applies now, doesn't it? This next pot, you feel if he gets it, will win in the frame. He's gone about these, I think, very confidently. He's looking good in himself. So one more tough pot to negotiate, and he's done so. Just slightly lost the cue ball again.
Yeah, he's just focusing so much on the pot there. They were just slightly took his eye off the cue ball, which is easily done because the black was missable.
Yeah, and eventually he's broken down. So it's a good break, but there's still enough
Jimmy
on. There's
Robertson,
75
64.
still on. He leads by 64.
Anytime you dig it down on the veg, just flick a bit of side on, sort of exaggerates the reaction. You can miss anything, and you're slightly digging down on that.
But Judd Trump fails to take advantage. Meanwhile, table two, there's plenty of action there. And Peter Lines, he's commentating with us yesterday, was playing down his chances, but he just made a century there in frame 3. Don't write off these veterans. Yeah, he's going to be 2-1 down, but a chance to get the draw, and it's high quality stuff
108.
there. Peter actually lost a match in the first stage, but still qualified.
115 on the frame.
115 to trail 2-1. Meanwhile, Jimmy Robertson just pushing the black to the cushion there, trying to make things more awkward.
Yeah, it's a clever shot from Jimmy there. Trying to red on the cushion and the black on the cushion. All of a sudden the table's not looking as good as it was just now for Judd. Time knock that red on the cushion up towards baulk is even better position for Jim. He's not quite on the cushion, obviously, but that's what he was planning to do. It makes it even tougher. And he has got plenty of points to play with if Judd's got a chance, but all the reds going up in the baulk end, he wouldn't be able to take baulk colours with all the reds. So you have to be careful if you did get an opportunity. Again, if he's covered that red on the side cushion, that's a pretty good shot there. That's what he's planning to do, so Jump would have to go. No, because obviously Judd can get through to it. Had a pretty good shot. A little bit of trouble here, Jimmy, now to get this safe. He may go for the red on the left-hand side of the table and try and leave the cue ball. Yeah, I'm not sure the angle's on really, or he could play safe off it, or just drop onto the red on the baulk cushion. That's what he's looking at.
One.
Wow.
Judd Trump. One.
That came out of completely nowhere. So, Jimmy Robertson with a chance to kill this off. And he'll be delighted with a draw,
One.
considering the way Trump went 2-0 up, considering the chances he had for 3-0.
He played really well here. I know he's missed a couple of balls just on the edges of winning the frame. I think one of them was just down to concentration.
7.
But he didn't really do much wrong in the first 2 frames. And he's played the next 2 really well. So it's a decent performance here.
Yeah, and it makes this grip, I think, very interesting. Judd Trump unable to get away top of the table from his first match.
12.
So Tom Ford and Stuart Carrington will be happy enough to see this draw, I'm sure. They're up next.
12 and the frame.
Yeah, Judd Trump put
Jimmy
together
Robertson.
that wonderful total clearance in frame 2, 128, but couldn't make the most of chances in the third frame. Jimmy Robertson stayed positive. I think that was the key for him, and he's got the result in the end he wanted, which was a point So it ends Judd Trump 2, Jimmy Robertson 2.